Hey folks, my name is Tobal. Welcome to a brand new Let's Play series on Transport Fever 2. The game has just launched on Steam, so I am really excited. I've had a lot of fun playing this in the preview build. I wasn't able to load my old save. We were having a kind of a preview Let's Play, and it didn't quite load in. So we're going to be starting fresh, and you're welcome to join along with me as we go. If you're unfamiliar with the game, it is a transportation simulation game. So you are building a train network, a road network. You can have planes going from point A to point B, and it's going to be super, super fun. I do have a couple of settings on here that you may want to add to your map. If you want to play along, you can take the seed, and I think you have to have the same settings for the seed to work. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. There we go. I wanted to have a river that stretches across the entire height of our map, and I've got this ratio on 1 to 3, which makes my map be much longer as opposed to kind of a perfect square, which gives that feeling of a really long transportation network, which I absolutely love. I have very high towns and high industries on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Not really a ton of hills or water. I did bump up the forest just a bit. And sorry, if you wanted to use the map, you have to use, 1MR, really? That's a very basic C to remember. So use 1MR if you want to join along with me on this little run. The settings are going to be the same as we had before. We are using the temperate environment and climate, European town names, and Asian vehicles, because I love to use the bullet train down the road. My goal is to have a glorious, super high-speed transportation passenger network. I've decided we're going to start off in the Roaring 20s this time. We're going to, right after World War I even. The world is recovering from a, devastating war, and so industries are trying to pick up. The train industry is exploding. We've got brand new steam locomotives, lots of power in them, and I am super thrilled to get started. All right, so our game is about to load in. By the way, I apologize if the view, if it seems a little bit skewed. I actually have to play the game in windowed mode right now. For whatever reason, my recording software hates the full screen mode. And it's like my game freezes, and you can hear everything, but you don't see video. Anyway, so welcome to the map. Let's go ahead and close this lovely welcome message and pause the simulation and take a look at the glorious land that we shall soon completely overwhelm with glorious transportation networks. Everyone is going to be talking about the steel bullet that we have running between Torquay or Torquay and Sheringham, or what the heck? What? Come on. How am I Earthling Borough? Never mind, that's not too hard. Okay, so here we go. This is our map. The first thing that I normally do on any Transport Fever playthrough is pause the game, take a quick look at what's going on. We can open up the Cities tab, which they've changed from the earlier version. Lots of information contained in one spot. We can actually see what kind of cities are growing. Oh no, poor Sheringham is actually going down a bit because it has very poor traffic issues. Interesting. Probably because of the game starting. There's some weird leftovers there. I bet that's not the case. So Flitwick is the biggest town, tied with Bodmin here. Oh boy, that would be a really fun transportation passenger line between Flitwick and Bodmin. Honestly, both of these cities are right along the river too. This seems like a great opportunity down the road. I probably won't do this the first episode, but we could try out having a waterway line. I never have waterway lines. That's really exciting. And I believe, let me take a look here. I have a theory about how to get your passenger rail lines to make money. And it involves the fact that whenever a city is not connected by road, they're going to have more passengers wanting to go. Now, this is connected by road between Bodmin up there and Flitwick. It goes all the way over here, through Hale, through Huddersfield, Bishop Auckland, and then over to Flitwick. I don't know if the distance there would make people unhappy or not, but it could be a passenger line for us in the future. Very, very nice looking town. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the game, the cities do expand over time, which is really cool. And if you are supplying the city with goods and services, you can help influence the growth rate. So for example, the town here, Bodmin, wants tools and machines. So if we start delivering tools, it's going to start growing at a faster rate. In fact, does Bodmin or Flitwick have any good industries nearby? Let's take a peek. Flitwick would appreciate some fuel as well as some tools. Now, tools are made by having planks. Planks are made by having logs turned into planks. So here could be a kind of a log to plank to tool route and then back, although I'm not too crazy about that. We've got a couple of cities right here together that want some food. Although there is not a... Oh, no, there is a food processor. Oh, this is a super easy decision for me. 2 farms right here next to this food processing plant. Berwick upon Tweed and Cramlington want food. Now, Cramlington would be the big winner here, because this is a bigger city with much higher demand. So, that might be an easy start for us, and I plan to do some easy stuff and try to focus on one thing per episode if I can. So, I really cover, you know, cargo lines today, and maybe cover passenger lines in the next episode. We'll take a look. So, spending a couple minutes here, Bournemouth down here, they want, this is, I think, goods and machines. Goods is that little box that kind of looks like bread. Really not a whole lot that's jumping out at me. I've not really taken a really in-depth look, so I probably will between episodes. Of the farms down here, of course, Pudsey doesn't want food at all. A ton of farms right there. This is going to be a fun map. I like this map a lot. And I envision, what I normally like to try to visualize is where I'm going to place my line. My main line that runs along the entire north-south extent of the map. So we'll probably hug the coast, skip around Pershore, skip around Sheringham, stuff like that, and eventually get all the way up to Bodmin. Probably Bodmin and Flitwick will be my first major passenger run. I'm assuming that could be a very, you know, useful for passengers to go between. And what is Flitwick? Sorry, Bodmin. They want machines and they want tools as well. So we have Sawmill over to Tools Factory. This could be okay. It's not perfect, but I believe there is a car that can attach to a train that is the with the stakes on the side. So we could take that, have it load up on logs, pick up planks, deliver those planks to the factory, and then come back and repeat the line. That could be a pretty decent train route. It's a bit far for me to want to do ground transportation. You know what? Honestly, we're in the age of trucks now. So maybe ground transportation is the better route. This stretch here is just a little bit long. The thing is, if you don't deliver all of your goods to the final destination in 1 year, it won't satisfy this need right here. So, for example, if it takes a really long time to ship this plank to its destination, it's going to be not too happy with that. So, I don't know, something to think about. The tools could then be delivered over to Bodmin. The tools could also be part of the Flitwick line. If this really gets going, it could kind of meet with this existing network. Ooh, I'm torn, you guys. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Let's go with this basic food route. It's almost like homage to all previous Let's Plays to start out with a very basic, simple route. It's also good to have because it's a basic money maker. So if all else fails, we can rely on our bread and our food network. So, first things first, I'm going to place down a truck stop. And normally when you're putting down truck stops, you want to put them at the farthest point away from your manufacturer or your producer. So you see how that turns white? That means that it's in the catchment area of this stop. So if I put this truck stop right here, any goods that get delivered or get made will immediately go to this truck stop. And we don't have to have a truck go here, for example. They can just leave from right here. So it's expected that the farm is delivering their goods directly to the truck stop without your intervention, right? And we're also going to throw down another truck stop, but I'm going to put this one dead center because, ooh, hang on a minute. Or we could do something fun. We could have 2 separate truck stops. It's something I've been working with a little bit. We could put one stop here. This is to drop off the food to the producer. And we could have a truck stop here. This is to pick up the food and actually move it to sell it into towns, which could be fun. Let's experiment with that. Something a little bit different. Right. So there we are. And I also plan to make the train route up to Cramlington in order to deliver food up to Cramlington as well, because that is a really nice sized city. And if our food production really gets going, we can come down here to Bolton as well, although Bolton's a little bit smaller, so I'm not going to dedicate a train line just yet. So first things first, let's create a route. We're going to go into our line manager and do new line and click on here and here. So we're basically taking raw food and grain over to the producer. So this is going to be, I'm going to label this as ground or vehicle cargo, VC, and this is just going to be, I'm going to put BER to indicate that this is where this starts at, and it's going to be grain delivered. That's how I'm going to kind of label stuff, and we'll keep red for the cargo lines. Next, we're going to say, we actually need to put one more stop in the city itself. So let me back out of this, go over here to the truck unload stop. We don't necessarily need a full truck stop right in the middle of town. We're just dropping off goods. We're not picking anything up from this town. So we're going to put a truck stop right here. And we're going to go back into our line manager, edit this line, and we're going to say you're going to pick up your food and deliver it right here. Just drop it off to all the places that need it. Perfect. Vehicle, cargo, bear, and then food delivered into the town. That's how I'm going to kind of symbolize that. And we'll say the production is going to be red, and the final good is going to be, you know what, the final good is going to be green because it's going to make us some money. There you go. So that is our very basic road network. And of course, if you do have a road network, you do have vehicles. So we're going to go into the road depot. I'm spinning stuff around, by the way, with M and N, and that is how you rotate your buildings. All right, we're going to throw down the road depot. And now, this is a really short run, so I don't think we're going to need that many trucks. Let's grab about 5 right out of the gate. So buy vehicles. Here's all the cool looking vehicles we have between, or this day and age. We've got a bunch of Benz trucks, which can carry, if it's just the one with stakes, it can carry 8. If it's a covered tarpaulin, it's going to be 7. And then we have these cool passenger vehicles. I think this is like a double-decker bus, actually, which is super neat. I can't wait for the mods to start coming out that are going to, like, double the capacity. They always have a mod that comes out that, like, will fully take up, because if you look at this vehicle, it almost looks like it can support up to 20 people. There's enough seats for 20 people. So some mod will come along to change that at some point. So we have to make sure that we are able to carry our food, which is our all cargo, which is what we want. So we're going to buy 5 of these. And then we're going to choose the little arrow and assign this to our grain line. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and get 5 more. Might be overkill, but we'll grab 5 more. And we're going to buy 5 more and assign them to the delivery route into the city itself. So we're going to unpause the game and you'll start seeing our lovely trucks come out of the depot. There we go. Beautiful looking trucks. Thanks so much, guys. You're doing great work out there. Who's our driver today? Oh, he's a very handsome gentleman. Look at that top hat. You know, he's so classy. He wears his top hat when he's inside the truck. He's going to a dinner party, but he's delivering goods. That is a dedication. And his brother, his other brother, his cousin, they all look very, very similar. Cool. Good stuff. So we're going to start making this run happen. It's going to take a while for this to balance out. So we're going to come back to this. And the goal, at the end of the day, is to try to utilize as much production of your raw material and then your producer as possible. And so we're going to find the good balance where we're able to deliver all of our goods to the producer. And then the producer, we're probably going to overload Berwick upon Tweed. Once that happens, I'm going to set up a cargo line to run into Cramlington. Next up, we still have another a little bit of time here. Why don't we talk about this passenger route? Do we want to try a passenger route early on between Bodmin and Flitwick? And if all else fails, we could talk about doing tool delivery instead and utilize the existing line that will be between the 2 cities. So we're going to set up our first little cargo or train station. Now, the cool thing with the Transport Fever 2 is you're able to mix your station. So just because it starts out as a cargo station doesn't mean it has to stay as one. And I'll show you what I mean. We're going to throw down our passenger line. And I think I'm going to throw this down kind of on the outskirts of the city, because we want to have room to grow. If these are the 2 biggest towns in the game, there is it's likely that they're going to grow over time. Let's take a look at the contour lines too. Okay, this is all nice flat area. Cool. Let me take this off. A little careful when you're clicking with a station in your hand, or else you might put that down. So I'm going to put the passenger line right here, and we're going to connect this with we're going to extend the street. Like a 90-degree turn, and you'll see little sidewalk symbols come up, meaning that now this station is connected to this road network. I'm also, while I'm here, going to go ahead and put down a bus stop, because people are going to need to get delivered from this train. They're going to need to get delivered where they want to go in town. So we're kind of expecting larger growth in this town eventually. And I actually raised it up and lowered it there by using the left and right, greater than, left than, less than rather, symbol. So, I hate that the roads aren't perfectly 90 degrees. Somehow, my friends, I will survive. Okay, so this side is good. Let's focus on the rail aspect first, and then I'll come back and make the bus line. So, we are going to start building our line. I'm going to go ahead and get in the contour view. And as I always mention, you generally want to make your line segments, your railroad segments, in small bits of time. Like, I don't really want to go and do this, because if there's any hills in the way... Actually, it almost looks like it's okay. But look, see how it's keeping the same elevation? It's basically saying, oh, you want this to be a straight line? Sounds good. I will keep it as straight as possible by elevating the terrain. But I don't mind if we have a couple of dips here and there. We're going to follow the terrain, basically. As when you do it in smaller chunks, the rail will follow whatever terrain you have. I think I picked the wrong spot. There we go. So you'll see the little icon down here changing from up and down every so often to indicate that, hey, we're going up a hill or down a hill. Okay, so we're going to have to keep right along the river. And I will fast forward just a bit. This is very exciting, I know. Once we get over to closer to Flitwick or a challenging area. Okay, I didn't plan ahead. My fault. Although, you know what? There actually is room just on the coast to sneak by this farm. So that could have been a little bit ugly. I would have had to destroy some farm and go in. But yeah, we do have a little tiny bit of space. I think if you go over the farm, yeah, you can pay to destroy one of their fields. So you're basically paying the farmer to say, hey, sorry, I'm trashing your field completely. So we're going to set up for a nice wide arc. This is going to be a lovely line, though. I mean, if I were a passenger, I would be super happy to ride on this, because it's like right along the riverside. What a perfect little view. There we go, just sneaking by the edge and pretty much hugging the coast all the way over to Flitwick. Now, at some point, we're going to have to cut in. So, how do we want to make this cut? How is this line over here going to be? We could just have a basic, since the river kind of curves left, we could have it shoot over. And if you see, if we kind of come out wide, we can hook in, go across the river, and then pretty much line up right here, which wouldn't be bad. Now, is this line going to continue on would be the question. And it could. It could continue past Flitwick and loop on into Cramlington, and then maybe service Bearwick or something else. So that is a possibility. So for the moment, we might change this down the road. It's not like it's impossible to change your existing network once you get going. But I'm going to build from the Flitwick side now, and I will put down my passenger line. Passenger station right over here, and we're going to kind of build out from this section facing the other road. And so here's kind of the curve. I'm just going to pretty much go straight out, and then once we go across, we will make the big turn to meet the rest of the network. So this is going to be the expensive part. That's actually not too bad, but we did talk about possibly having a boat line at some point. So I think we want to have a... Interesting. So there has to be a certain height. So if we wanted to... Yeah, so if we actually wanted to clear the river, we're going to have to manually raise or lower the bridge. What you're seeing here is the navigable water display. So this is telling you that boats can pass right here, but they cannot pass under your existing line. So rather than spending a ton of money though right now, I think we're going to go ahead and just do a basic what do you call that? Bridge. Yeah, we're just going to do this right now, and we'll come back to this later on. If we set up a boat, kind of a transport, a ferry transport, I might start it over here. Otherwise, we'd have to... I hate leaving my work for myself. You know that, honestly? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be a good YouTuber, and we're going to teach instead of just leave for later. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give ourselves a wee bit of an incline. And we're going to try to have enough height at the start of this to cover... Now, how can we do this? If I just drag straight across... Now, it's going crazy because I still have this little symbol here. Let's straighten it out. Let's snap right... my straight line here. Oh god, everything's crazy. Alright, so here's the straight line. Okay, so if you click on this little symbol here, you can control if the line goes up or down. So right there, this is just high enough for for boats to pass under. And this is kind of even better. Okay, I think I don't mind this. I don't mind paying almost $1 million to make life easier for us later on. We're going to be good citizens of the world and not completely block out all of the future traffic. There we go. So I'm going to start, and also it's nice that the train can go full speed across that, which is kind of cool. Where's our existing train line at? All the way down here. So I'm going to connect these two, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there we go. I connected the across the bridge line all the way with the line that we had kind of going along the farmstead. So it looks good. It's all sitting along here on the river. Look at that. That's pretty. Who would not want to go on this line? Honestly, this is a glorious looking passenger line. It's like riverside views the entire time. Beautiful. Okay, so there we go. We've got our passenger line. We spent a nice chunk of money on that. And first things first, let's set up the line itself. So we're going to say from Flitwick over, that's a really long line, come to look at it. From Flitwick to Bodmin, we're going to call this R for rail, P for passenger. So rail passenger, Flit or FLI to Bod. There we go. And I'm going to say, yeah, sure, yellow is going to be our passenger color. Now, once the people get to both of these towns, they have to get off the train and kind of go to where they want to go. So you want to set up an efficient taxi line in the city. And let's give, first off, we have to connect the station. There we go. Let's drop down a passenger or a bus stop. Now, I'm actually going to turn this into a tram line. Because, and does it need to be electric? I actually don't know. Let's make it electric. We'll need electric in the future anyways. So let's set this up here. For the moment, we have enough room to grow. By the way, cool thing, this game has modular stations and whatnot. So you can actually modify all of your different types of stations. So for example, this is how we could say set up another track over here and then add a cargo transport platform and then a cargo station. So we could turn one station into both passenger and cargo, which is so very cool. And there's so many customization options. You can add underground walkways here so people can get between different platforms and whatnot. It is really, really cool. And I cannot wait to really delve into some high volume passenger lines. I want to make Grand Central. Maybe Grand Central for Chicago will be here in Flitwick. Who knows? So, except that it's not right downtown. It's right on the outskirts. So we've got our little bus stop. Now we want to be able to drop people off. And I normally do this, like you see the white area is the catchment area. All of these houses will use this stop. Now here's the thing I don't know. Is it an instantaneous value? Or is there another calculation, like how long it takes someone to get from our stop here, say at the intersection of town, over to their house over here? If that's part of the calculation, we would want bus stops closer to the residential areas, because that means less walking. So we're going to throw down a stop right here to kind of cover this section of town. We're going to throw down a stop over here to cover the industrial side of town. And then I'm going to drop a stop right here to cover kind of the central and then southern area. Maybe since we are going this way, yeah, you know what? That's fine. We'll do one more stop right here. Okay, so this is going to be our internal taxi line. Internal meaning this line is only going to go inside of Flitwick. Now, I want to use some trams. So I'm going to go to the street tab, click on this modification tab, street modification tools. We're going to turn all of this road, or at least the road that follows our stops, into tram lines. So there's a stop there, it curves in, turns here, and then meets back up with the original station. So we've added tram lines to our entire road network because I love trams. I think trams are adorable, and they tend to have more passengers per vehicle than a normal vehicle would. So let's go ahead and put down a Tram Depot right here on the edge of town near our train station itself, because you do need to have a separate depot down if you're actually delivering them. Finally, we're going to make a new line, and we're going to call this here to here. And if you notice, I also put the stops on the right-hand side of the road to make right-handed stops, so that the vehicle can keep going in one direction. So keep that in mind as well. My entire stop is always on the right side of the road, and everything is in one nice smooth circle. It doesn't have to be a circle per se, but if I were to put a left-hand stop here, what the vehicle would do is have to come down up here, loop back around, and then go to Church Road. So it's more efficient to have them on one side of the road generally. So we're going to name this XX for taxi, and this is going to be the Flitwick Taxi Alpha. I may put different lines in here eventually. Sometimes I reverse the line, so I might make a line that goes from here in this direction, which I would actually have to put a stop on the other side of the road. But right now we're just going to stick with one for the moment. And taxi lines are going to be brown, because for whatever reason, there we go. Taxi lines are brown. So now when people get to Flitwick, they're going to get off the train and they're going to catch a tram and stop wherever is most efficient for them inside the city. Now, what I don't know is how many of these we're going to need. One of these Moscow Fs can carry 24 passengers, which is kind of impressive, honestly. And its emission rating is lower than the Kolomna because this is an electric line. So we're going to grab 2 of these because I really don't know how many we're going to need. So the other thing is, the more vehicles you have on a line, the lower the frequency, which means it's how fast the tram shows up at the stop. So we're probably going to have more space on these trams, but really you want to have the frequency really low because people want an efficient taxi line. They want to be able to get somewhere in their city very, very quickly. All right, let's unpause things for a minute. Take a look how our glorious new trams are looking. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I love that we've got an electric route. Why are you going that way for? What are you doing? What are you even doing right now? By the way, I've noticed recently, if you buy a bunch of vehicles at once and you've got them assigned to a line, normally it used to, all of your trains or your vehicles, I thought, would go to the first stop on the route. But now it seems to split them evenly. So not all of your vehicles go to the same stop and overload it, which is actually really, really useful. Okay, so our tram line is set up in Flitwick. Let's go to Bodmin, and I'm going to pretty much do the exact same thing. So first off, we have to figure out where the stops are going. And remember, the bus stop itself kind of acts as a stop too. So we're not going to need a stop directly outside of our normal bus stop. I'm going to put one. It's kind of a weird laid out city. We'll put one here. One there. One here. This is a funky city. One there and one there. I think that's okay. That's not too shabby. Everyone can kind of get to a bus stop relatively close by. All right, same thing again. We're going to set up a new line, passenger line, all right-handed stops here. Boom, boom, boom. Call this one the XX Bodmin Taxi Alpha Line. Again, it's going to be Poop Brown because Poop Brown taxis. And finally, we're going to modify all the streets again because trams are love, trams are life. By the way, if you want to undo what you just did, you can click on a section of road again, and it will undo the tram conversion. It'll set it back to a normal, basic, plain old, boring, not a tram road. Excellent. It can be a little weird to see all this stuff overhead. Like, if you've ever been to Vancouver, there are a ton of overhead lines, overhead electricity lines for the trams, I think. I've only been to Vancouver a couple times, but it's a very interesting looking city anyways. But the trams definitely make, or the connectors above the road definitely make it kind of unique. So, there we go. That's all set. Finally, we need to drop down a tram station. Don't really want to do too much in town. Let's just say we, crap, I don't know where to put this at. Let's put this right over here. We'll put this right behind someone's house. This sucks for them. And then I'll convert the street out front. There we go. Same thing. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab 4 of these Moscow 4s. Or sorry, Moscow Fs. Not 41, sweet God, 4. And by those, assign them to this line. By the way, you do start with a lot more money. We started with 10 million. But I guess that's because 1920s, everything costs a lot more. So you're starting with more money the farther along you are in the years. Right. The final thing we have to do is throw down a train depot. And I want to put the train depot somewhere kind of in the middle, because sometimes I'll have the train add more cars. And it'll be easier if it's right there, smack dab, dead center. Turn this around. Sorry for the beep. That is my little security system. And add the tracks. And I will talk about more complex stuff later on in a different episode, like multiple trains on one line, and how to use signals appropriately, and how to put in passing lanes. We will definitely talk about those topics, but right now, we're pretty much just going to be using this for one train. So, I think ahead of time, I'm going to go ahead and borrow a lot of money, because these trains can get really expensive. 10 million in the bank. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look at all the glorious trains we have available to us. Look at all these awesome locomotives. We have a ton of steam. 45 kilometers per hour, 75, 115. Holy crap. This train is a freaking bullet here. 115 kilometers per hour with 800 kilowatts of power 140 tractive effort. I kind of like the top end speed though of this one. Since our line has a lot of flat areas to it, that means that we're going to be at top speed, I think, for longer. So let's add this. This is your Amazon checkout cart, by the way. So what you can start to play with different aspects. You can say, hey, I want to have, 4 engines haul this train. Yeah, that's sure. You can experiment and see what that would cost you. By the way, a huge thank you to Snafu. I had a question back in my other Let's Play about what this rating was. Basically, it's giving you numbers here after the kilometers per hour. I think, and he made a really good point, we think this is probably, now it's we, of course, when I believe him. He thinks it was the amount of time needed to get up to maximum speed. So it's going to take 72 seconds for this train, with its current locomotive, to get to its maximum speed. If we add another train, or car rather, it would take a couple of more seconds. So that's 90 seconds, that's 109 seconds. So the more you add, the slower it gets. For the moment, let's throw on 3 of these suburban cars. These are carrying 19 people each, 57 capacity. I don't want to go too crazy because I don't know what the demand is going to be like. There may be no demand. We may have a train that is utterly, completely sad and empty, but it will be fun. And you know what? Honestly, this color is not working for me. Can we do a nice sky blue? Because it matches the train color a little bit too, right? What about heather green? No. These colors are so gross. They're so gross, all of them. The yellow bullet. They're so nasty. We could have a train the purple people eater. It could be glorious. All right, you know what? We're going to do blood red because Amtrak's known for having like that steel color. We're going to be the blood red line. There we go. Blood red trains. Very, very creepy. Okay, here we go. This is our total of the entire train engine plus the 3 cars. 6.6 million. And we're going to throw this onto the Flitwick to Bodmin route. And there we go. Our line is complete at this point. So people, like say if we wanted to pretend, say you live over here, or you work over here in this commercial building, and you live way over, or I should probably reverse that. Say you live right here in this tower, okay? But you just got a job because this train line opened up way down in Flitwick with some kind of industrial factory. So you're going to walk downstairs, get to the closest station, which is, if I zoom out a little bit, right here in the corner. So you'll go to this corner. You'll pretty much get a ride on our lovely tram, which has all of 2 people in it. So lots of space inside of this tram. Let's take a look here, how it looks. I love that you can go down to this close level, by the way. Oh, it's the same guy that's running the truck. How crazy. There we go. So lots of open space here to ride the tram. And you will take the tram over to the passenger depot, get off, and then walk across to, hey, I wonder, would it be easier to put a stop down? Probably not. Maybe it would be easier just to have a flat stop, and then people would just immediately walk across the road. I wonder if that would be a big thing or not. What do you think? Like, I'm talking about adding a bus stop right there, so it's immediately right next to the tram station. Maybe we'll do that. Here, let's modify it for funsies. So let's pause. Which one's Bodmin Birch? Right here. So we're gonna, or Bodmin Branch. We're gonna take this off. We're gonna add this, and we're going to, I think, make it a higher priority. Can I go? I can't move it. I thought I was able to move these. Apparently not. Well, it's 5. So it's London Road, West Street. This is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, it can be at the end. So it will turn around here, but then drop people off right there at the stop in front of the station. I have no idea. We'll see if that's useful or not. No one's really stopping at the stop. We're using it as a turnaround. And then they're going to get on our lovely little platform here and wait for our glorious bullet train to come on through. Speaking of which, let's take a look at our fancy train. Oh, this thing is booking. Holy crap, this is awesome. I'm so used to like 1850 trains that this is really, really impressive to me that we're going so fast. This looks really cool. All right, do we want to name this train? Now accepting names for our first train. I wouldn't call it the Bullet yet because it's not quite that fast, but or some old historical names. I don't know anything about early train, especially in the United States. That's where a lot of the steam industry got a lot of its power, but I don't remember any of the famous lines. So maybe we can, oh, you know what? Here, I'm going to do the first one, guys. Sorry. I'm going to call this one the Zephyr. I think I spelled that right. Did I spell Zephyr right? I'm going to check. But this is the first train that I ever rode on with my wife. So we had a blast. We did a cross-country route. I think it's the route name. The California Zephyr is the actual full route. But we're going to call this one the Zephyr. Awesome. No, actually, I just double-checked. The California Zephyr is actually a passenger train, which is operated by Amtrak. So it's the train itself. So we could call this one the, you know, say the Bodman or even the Flitwick. So maybe Bodman's going to be our Grand Central. It's got a nice spot in the middle of the entire map. So here we go. We're going to call you the Flitwick Zephyr. Oh, that's great. I love it. Okay, the Flitwick, and you know what? Spaces are important. And hey, we at least have our first passenger on board. So it is, you know, at least being used. One full train for this one passenger. This is so sad. Where are you, my friend? Are you hiding inside the train? I'm going to find you. You can't hide from us forever. What kind of a train do we have here? Yeah, just a couple of basic benches. Nothing too exciting. Do we have bathrooms on here at all? Do we even have bathrooms yet? I hope we have bathrooms by now. Probably not. Just open the door and just, you know, go out there. Oh, it looks like a bathroom. What is that? Are you a bathroom? I can't tell. I think it is. A little private bathroom. We're going to pretend it's a bathroom. Where's our one passenger at? Where are you, you bugger? Are you hiding from me? They're in there. Oh, there he is right there at the back. He wants to be at the rear of the train. Fair enough, friend. Fair enough. Okay, well, thank you so much. Yeah, that is a bathroom. How cool. So, our first train is making its way downtown all the way over to Flitwick. And you can see the little passenger icons popping up, meaning there is some demand in our local line. And there won't be much built up because this tram can carry a lot of people. So by and large, this taxi route is always going to be in the negative because we're not really making any money yet. Because it's always going to be empty. Our goal for a taxi route is frequency over the amount of passengers. So and the only reason I went for a bigger tram itself was because I wanted to have the lower emission rating because it is electric. Excuse me. Very much hiccup, yes. All right, so frequency of 79 seconds on both stops, which is kind of cool, or both cities. So that's not too bad. I think under 100 is generally pretty good. Okay, friends, I'm going to put a cut here in the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me for this first episode and this first Let's Play of the freshly launched Transport Fever 2. I do have a link if you're interested in buying the game to Green Man Gaming down below in the comment section. So that will give like 4% of the price of the game will kind of come back to me as a creator, which is very, very helpful. If you want to support me directly, I also have a link to Patreon. And if you want to come chat, which I highly encourage you to do, there is a Discord link. You can join the Discord link, come chat with us about trains, Kenshi, RimWorld, whatever game you are interested in. Please come say hi, and I would greatly appreciate it. Look at this city exploding with upgrades here. All right, friends, thanks so much for being with me this episode. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Until then, take care.